Good morning. Today is the 5th of December 2024 and I'm going to go through my trading watch list today and plan. As always, before we start, let's look to see what news could move the market. We had a medium impact news event 8:30 and that's pretty much it. We've got a low impact at 11:30. Let's just compare that with TradingView's news. Yeah, it looks the same. We've got a Fed speaker actually at 11:30 as well, so just be a bit wary of that if you're in a trade. But no real news that could move the market apart from the Fed. On my screen, I've been looking at Bitcoin. Look at that 100k we got past yesterday. We rejected it, came back. We talked about this little bullish formation it's putting in. There's my pen. Let's just restart it. So we've got this little ascending wedge. Basically, we talked about this yesterday, looking for it to break out, and it did actually break out in the end. I took some profits today. Literally when we was up here at 103,500. So I'm down to probably about a third, not even at a quarter of what my initial Bitcoin is. I've been adding every week as well onto it as well, and I just took out half of what was in my account. So just nice to take a little bit back from watching it on this rally. And the reason I did that is because we got lots of volume coming in, and we had lots of volume come in today. And you know the saying, but sell the rip, buy the dip. That's exactly what I want to do with Bitcoin. So I've got money sitting in my bank now, and then when we pull back a bit, which I hope we do, then I'm looking to add that back in again. So while we're on Bitcoin, we might as well stay and look at it. This is the daily chart for Bitcoin. You can see we had this 2-year very bullish cup and handle pattern. This is the cup. This is the handle, and you can see we held this channel for some time, going between the zones, and I was using it as a few players I added in there. We started looking a bit bullish here, and you can see that because, and it's the same, you can do that. This is a daily chart, but you see this every day on lower time frame charts as well. So basically just accumulating and accumulating. So if you know anything about Wyckoff's law, trading philosophy, you'll see that this is an accumulation zone, and there's, we had our first test on high volume, and then we had a pullback, but it didn't come all the way double bottom, and then we had some low volume candles as well, and then we finally broke the channel, came back, tested it. This is one of my favorite plays, a break and retest, and then, which I missed there, but I added when we came back here, and then you can see we're just really up right now. However, don't want to get caught in this trap of going long into all-time highs, because up here at some point there's people holding the bag right now, and if we see a big pullback, these people will be holding the bag. So trying to find decent areas to add has been difficult. That's why I've not added. I've only taken profit on there, and I'm looking for it to come back into this region. You got 75 is a nice round number, 60 is a round number, around 70. So they're the areas I'll be looking to add on round numbers, no psychological numbers. Good morning, Charles. I hope you're well. Hopefully you had a good day trading yesterday. On the subject of yesterday trading, I didn't take a single trade. In fact, I took a very small scalp, which is virtually break even. So I didn't do any trades yesterday. I just didn't like the price action, and it got past my 11:30 a.m. Eastern time cut-off time, and I don't want to trade after then. So I walked away, did some programming, and that's my day really. Hopefully today we have a bit of a better day. We've finally broken out of this little bit of consolidation we've been having, and we're into new all-time highs. So let's flick down to the hourly. Okay, so there's basically one play we can watch, and that's the break and retest of, could say, pre-market high into yesterday's high, and then break of yesterday's high into no man's land. Let's just get a better. Here we go. So it's very hard to go short when we're in such a strong uptrend. We are above all the moving averages as well. So I quite like the break and retest of pre-market high. That's a play I look for every day, and also the break and retest of pre-market low. So I look for that. Usually, no matter what the market's doing, there's a few little rules. Like I try to favour the trend if I take the pre-market. So pre-market high's got a better probability than a pre-market low because we're in an uptrend. And also I look at volume as well, and I really want to see a pullback, maybe lack of volume coming into that area, a retest with some volume coming in and some follow through. Excuse me. I've been suffering from this almost 6 weeks now. I've had this cough and cold. Can't seem to shake it. Hopefully on the mend over the next week or so. So we've got 6100. We talked about this level yesterday. So keep an eye on 6100 for rejection. And look what happened. Came into that area, rejected it, and we've yet to get over it. So let's keep an eye on 6100. We could probably, as much as I don't like shorting, the only reason I like 6100 for short is because it's a psychological number, not because it's an all-time high. So we can keep an eye on that. If we don't get any follow through or we poke through and come back down, let's watch 6100 for the rejection. But I stress that's high risk, lower probability, because we're in this big uptrend, big daily uptrend, weekly uptrend, hourly uptrend, everything's in an uptrend. Otherwise, let's look for trend continuation, pull back into pre-market low area, into 6100, break and retest. That's probably a good plan, a better plan. As for other bounces, let's keep an eye on yesterday's low, this region here, for a bounce, and that's 60.72 down to 60.65. So there's a big wide area, so it's not quite a small area we've got up here. But keep an eye on this. If we pull back down into this region, look for some sort of confirmation, like a head and shoulders pattern or a double bottom, just to confirm with a higher high, something like that. And I'll be looking for a pattern like that if we come in for a reversal. And obviously a V-shaped bottom, we seem to get a lot of them at the moment, but they're hard to trade because you don't know whether it's going to be a V shape or whether it's going to be continuing down like that. So it's difficult, hence why looking for a double bottom, something like that. So put in a low, a higher low, and then we can watch for the break and retest maybe of that area there. That's a good area, that's a good confirmation signal. So that's how I'll be playing this zone here. And I think that's it really. Just keep it really simple. Basically, break and retest of pre-market high, higher probability, break and retest of pre-market low, lower probability, and it's against the trend. Watching for the bounce down here at yesterday's low, down to 60.65 as a zone, and then break and retest. If we're in a pre-market high, hopefully we're still in it if we break out from yesterday's high. But 6100, psychological number, not quite as big as 6000 we had down here. But if we can't break out, or if we hold that area and there's no follow through, let's watch for a rejection. And again, I don't like rejecting all-time highs. That's why I didn't take this rejection 6100. But I think we got there about 3 PM in that candle, and I stopped trading from 11 AM, so I was done by here. Looking at SPY next. Exactly the same really. Did we put in a new high in SPY? Must have done. Okay, so new all-time high in SPY in the post-market. What time was that? Late yesterday, 4 AM first thing this morning. So break and retest a pre-market high, break and retest a pre-market low. We can keep an eye on this region for a potential rejection, same as ES, but just be wary, it's against a trend and it's a scalp more than a play. And then I do quite like this area here for a bounce still, and I liked it yesterday and I still like it now purely because we've got the volume shelf just coming in there. We've got the point of control, this red line, and we've got an area of confidence of our tops of candles and then bottoms of candles, and we've yet to come back to really retest that area. So 604 for a bounce, and then a higher risk bounce. There was one we could watch. I saw it on ES, but I'm not sure I'd take it. And we've got, no, yeah, the only place I like, I'm not going to say, I was going to say probably this area of confidence here, but it's pre-market and post-market volume, so I'll stick with actual session volume. So 604 for the bounce. SPX, we still got 6100, so 6100 rejection. Keep an eye on that. We didn't get there yesterday. We did on ES, but not on SPX. So this is an area. So if we're looking for a rejection into no man's land on ES, where we've got no levels at all, then potentially keep an eye on SPX. And if we see SPX rejecting this area, we can try and find a reversal entry on ES. But again, higher risk because there's no overhead levels for that, so it's very hard to find a level. That's why trend continuation is better than rejections up in all-time highs. And then we've got levels from yesterday still. So this area here, 60-50 area, 60-53. We've got this volume shelf as well, and we've got the point of control. So this is a good area to watch for a bounce. So if we're watching this area for a bounce, then potentially, let's just put an alert in there as well. It's a gap fill as well. We might see a decent bounce, and we can take it on SPY or ES. NQ. The only place I can see potentially is this area here for a bounce. That's yesterday's low. Little bit of confidence because we've got the previous all-time high. Not a big fan of that, only because of look at the lack of volume. No volume there, so not a great fan of that bounce area. I'd prefer it if it came back down into this region. We've got the volume shelf, the point of control, right through an area of confluence, where we've got bottoms and tops of candles and pivots, and we've got bottoms of candles there as well, and it's 21,200. So just keep an eye on this 21,200 to 21,260 for the bounce. So basically we are watching this zone here for the bounce. So keep an eye on that area. Higher risk, yesterday's low, but we can stick with the break and retest of pre-market high, which is around 21. Is that 21,537, 21,500, that area? Let's zoom in a bit. So because we got yesterday's high so close, I probably would prefer it to break above yesterday's high, come back in, take out any potential limit orders that could be sitting up there right now, and then continue the trend. So just bear that in mind. If we look at the 5-minute chart, we're not that far away. So let's see it break out, come back down into this region for the bounce. So looking good for trend continuation, but we've got to get over yesterday's high basically, because that could be a sticking point. We do have a bit of volume up here on the 5-minute as well. So where's that? Exactly, that is pre-market high area. Let's go back to the hour. So QQQ, exactly the same play. Pull back into this region here. I prefer this area for a bounce. You know, by the time we get there, we may be coming back down into the trend line area. So it's a daily trend line. Otherwise, watch for a break and retest for trend continuation. But with all these plays, ES, SPX, SPY, NQ, QQQ, just note just how extended we are away from the 50 as well. And if we go to the daily on QQQ, look at that. We are so extended, and look how far we are from the 8 moving average. Last time we saw a gap that big there, that big there. Then we had a smaller inside day, and then look, snap back. It always comes back to at the 8. It hugs the 8 quite closely. So we are quite extended right now. I'm not saying it's going to pull back today or tomorrow. You know, here we had a big gap up, another day of green, another gap up, another day of green, and a couple of days where it just went sideways for a bit and then it came back down. You know, it allowed time for the 8 moving average to catch up with it rather than it pull back. And we could see something, we could see it push up again today, go sideways for a bit, and during this time the 8 moving average is slowly catching back up before it makes the next move back up. So it's not just on Q, this is all of them including ES. Let's go back to ES and see how extended it is. So ES is, you can see how closely it hugs it. You know, we were pretty extended there. It's very unusual. I think I made a comment back in November how unusual we were extended and we'd do a pullback and we got it. We've never been that extended, never been that far away. If you look, we've got a little bit extended here, a little bit here. This is what could happen. You can see we were extended, 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 and then eventually we consolidated, and then the 8 caught up and it did snap back again. But it spends most of its time hugging that 8 moving average. So just keep an eye. We're not overly extended on the daily if you compare to some of the other bigger gaps we can see. But it's just something to bear in mind. And don't forget, we've also got this overhead daily trend line, 6,300. We've also got 6,200, 2 psychological numbers as well. So we may not be done with this uptrend just yet. Okay, let's look at oil next. Crude oil is still in this little consolidating wedge pattern. You can literally draw the trend line here and here. You know, maybe this wedge pattern is a little bit out, because if we draw it again, taking most recent pivots into account, we could be looking at something like that. We're going from one extreme to one extreme, back down to this extreme. You can see we're kind of narrowing in, and so break and retest of that area to confirm the uptrend, or we might break down, confirm the downtrend. So it's difficult to take a trade here right now until it actually breaks one of these trend lines, and these blue trend lines are the daily ones. That's just there for reference. You can say maybe we've had a contract change as well, so it may not be exactly accurate, but let's just move it down a bit. And if I move it down, I'll just put these two back together and look what's happened. Now it's more accurate. So that's the trend line. It seems to be what the institutions are following. And then again, if I link these two together, let's take the average about there. So kind of touching it there, touching it there. Just the most. I'm just trying to find the area the most touches, and we could come in. It's a little bit more accurate like that. We don't have to draw anything else on top. So it's a guideline, and I use it as a guideline because it's a zone. So when I'm looking for trend lines, I'm not just looking at the line, I'm looking at the zone. So this is the area, this is the upper trend line, this is the lower trend line, you know, get my idea, and we're looking at everything in between. So that's a little bit of an area, it could be anything, same here. So that's what I'm looking for when I'm looking for a level. I do that whether it's a rejection level. I'm not looking at the line, I'm looking at the area. So it could just poke through, come back in, come back, retest and confirm. Same down here, poked through, came back, retested, broke off, retested the trend line. It's just a guide. So that's what I look for when I'm putting these together. So I try not to base my trades on these areas. I'm just looking for confirmations as well. So levels for oil, we've got to break this trend line in that region. Probably need to break that pivot there or that pivot there. This is the more less conservative approach, or this upper pivot at 72, lower pivot at 63.50 is the higher probability approach. We're looking for a breakout or breakdown trades. Gold. Potentially we're looking at this kind of head and shoulders pattern. So you can see where the neckline is. Not the greatest pattern in the world, you could say. That's the neckline there. There's only two areas I'm watching. Let's go back to the hourly. Oh, were we looking at the... Oh yeah, no, we were looking at daily because we were looking at the trend lines, that's fine. So gold. again, it's doing something really similar. Just draw trend lines in. We've got this line here, just a rough approximation. We could put this trend line in there. Eventually they will meet up. So we're going between extremes, something like that. So watch for a break and retest of yesterday's high, which is 268, 2684, I believe, 2682. Not a big fan of pre-market high. We need to get over that pivot, and then if we break down through this wedge pattern, probably we'll be close to pre-market low. So below pre-market low, break and retest short. We have, however, got the local point of control going through that area, so it may even act as support down there and make it bounce. So you could watch it for a bounce pre-market low. That's if it doesn't push through, and only if we see no follow through on the downside. RTY, times it, we've got 9 minutes before market opens. Okay, I like RTY for a short. The reason for that is we've got this, I'll call it a neckline. It's not as clear cut as this one over here. That's a great break down and retest of that neckline area, and look at that for the move. We've got this rough head and shoulders pattern, but it's more, I'm seeing it more actually as a zone. And what we're looking for is the breakdown of this zone short. So let's keep an eye on 24, 23, 24, 25 break and retest short. That's pre-market low level as well. And if we can get out of this zone, pre-market probably is watching yesterday's high at 24.40. That's all there is at the moment. YM. And then we'll go over to the order flows. There's something looking a little bit funky right now. Okay, so this is YM. Looking pretty bullish, hasn't really pulled back. We're in this uptrend, you could say, if I clone that, and then we've got, no, it doesn't really fit there, probably more like that pattern there. So we're kind of in this zone, and we're in the upper half of this zone as well. If you were to split this down in the middle, we're trading at the top end, so looking more bullish and bearish. So I quite like the break and retest of the pre-market high, yesterday high, and that's at 45,200. So a psychological number as well, round number. We're at 45,000 right now, so we can potentially watch that as a bounce area. And we've got the point of control just below as well. So let's wait for the break and retest of yesterday's high for this one. And if we lose this area, we have to lose this uptrend. Oh, that's not a very good line. We have to lose, but you can see what I was trying to draw in. We've got this uptrend. Let's do it properly. This uptrend here as well. So this is the hourly, you could say it's daily. So there's nothing until we break down below that. So let's keep an eye on this area for a bounce as well. Little bit of a volume shelf. It's an area of confluence. We retested it once, but we've not been back down there. So 44,500 bounce, 44,600 bounce. And then Bitcoin we've looked at. See, now we're seeing it on the hourly. What I'm seeing now is a bull flag. Look at that. We had a bull flag here. We talked about this one, and it broke out. Another bull flag here. So again, we're going to watch two plays on this one. Break and retest a pre-market high, or break and retest pre-market low. That's if you play the intraday. We've got 100k as our potential bounce area, psychological number area. But I think this looks like a decent bull flag. But whether I take the second one in the move up, I don't know. So me, I've taken my profit already, and I've got some left in there. So if we do see a massive run, then I'm still in it. So I don't have FOMO, or I won't be too pissed off that I've taken money out and then I've been left behind watching it run. If it does come back down into this region, I'll be looking to play the bounce anyway. I think that's it. Let's just quickly flick over to the order flow because I'm seeing a little bit of divergence. You can see the cumulative delta is increasing in price, but the actual 2-minute candlesticks are just going sideways. So where are we looking? So let's go back to the hourly. Can't remember what we were looking at for levels. We're coming into the break and retest area of pre-market high. So that's this area up here. So might be the reason we're seeing this divergence. We're just building up. So the sellers are holding, the buyers are building up pressure, building up pressure, building up pressure until we pop. Boom, off we go. And we start another move upwards into the new all-time highs. Yeah, it's made a new pre-market. So keep an eye on that for trend continuation, and obviously we want to try and catch a break and retest of this area. So we're not watching for the breakout, we're looking for the break and the retest back down into that area, whatever the pre-market high will be when the market opens in 4 minutes time. Okay, that's pretty much it for me today. I just realised, let's put the news, I'll keep this news indicator up and running. Again, it shows me news on my chart as well. So for example, I can add an indicator, and again this indicator is on my website which I'm selling. It's waiting for the indicator to open up. As you can see, I've got quite a few indicators I've built. So this is called Key Levels Pro. No, it's not. It's called News Events. I'll just accept the defaults. So I configured it to show all medium and low news events. I could leave it on there. So you see these orange lines are the events we see here. So when you're trading and you've got an event coming up, so here the next event's not until we get this green. So what's that, about 11:30. So when you're trading and you get alerted in the top corner that there's a news event, and also you see it on the chart as well, and you see it, you can cross-reference it here. So you can see tomorrow's news, got quite a big one tomorrow, lots of news on tomorrow, and then this week, and you can see next week's news. And I use this every day just to stay in touch with what's happening. You can see we had quite a lot of news in today, and the last ones were initial jobless. Oh, there's a little bug there I need to fix. It's putting in the news in twice. When I click it, I just need to clear the page. I'll fix that and re-release that one. But yeah, so the idea is, so I can do this, refresh it. There you go, and that's what it should look like. So basically I get an alert on the screen as well 15 minutes before the news event. So a little square box pops up saying high or medium news event about to happen. So very useful, really useful indicator, and so I couldn't live without. Now I've built it. Right, that's it for me. Market's opening in 1 minute, so trade safe, have a good day, and I'll be on the order flow stream, which is what we just saw. That's on my other stream, which is live until the market closes. Okay, appreciate everyone and thank you for watching.